The studio lights are bright, the audience buzzing with anticipation. Dr. Phil sits at his usual spot, calm but curious, unaware that today's episode will take an emotional turn. He won't forget. On stage walks a man, someone who has been missing for years, carrying the weight of silence, mystery, and untold stories. The crowd murmurs, sensing the tension, their phones ready to capture every reaction. Dr. Phil leans forward, his eyes narrowing with intrigue. "You've been gone a long time. Can you tell us why?" he asks, his voice steady but carrying a trace of surprise. The man hesitates, looking at the floor for a moment before glancing at his family seated in the front row. There's a pause, thick with anticipation, as if the entire studio is holding its breath. The man begins recounting fragments of his disappearance, brief glimpses of where he was, the fear he faced and the isolation that kept him from returning sooner. He doesn't give everything away, yet each sentence raises more questions than answers, and the audience leans in, captivated. Some cover their mouths in disbelief, others exchange shocked glances. Dr. Phil listens intently, occasionally nodding, but even he struggles to hide his surprise. His usually composed demeanor cracks just slightly as he senses the depth of what's about to be revealed. "This isn't just a story of being lost," he says softly. "It's a story of survival, of secrets kept, and the courage it takes to finally come forward." The man's family shifts nervously in their seats. Emotions are running high, relief, anxiety, and hope all mixing in the same breath. The audience feels it too. The suspense is almost tangible. Everyone knows that the truth is coming, and no one, not even Dr. Phil, can predict how it will unfold. What happens next will shock Dr. Phil and the entire studio. No one saw this coming. With this setup, the stage is perfectly set for the unfolding drama, keeping the viewers glued to their screens and eager for part 2, where the full backstory begins to emerge. The tension in the studio continues to build as the man begins to reveal more about his disappearance. Years had passed since anyone had heard from him, and his sudden return has everyone, Dr. Phil, the audience, and his family, on edge. The man takes a deep breath, glancing at his loved ones, before beginning the story that has haunted all of them for so long. "It started shortly after," he begins, his voice calm but shaky. "At first, I thought I could manage on my own, but then things got complicated. Very complicated." His words are deliberate, each one dripping with tension, leaving the audience hanging on every syllable. He recounts the months of isolation, the mistakes he made, and the people he had to avoid. He describes moments of fear, hunger, and uncertainty, but also moments of clarity and survival. The audience listens, captivated by the unfolding drama, their eyes wide as they absorb each detail. Dr. Phil leans forward, his eyebrows raised, trying to piece together the fragments of this puzzling story. Throughout the narrative, the man doesn't reveal everything at once. Instead, he drops hints that build suspense, a fleeting glimpse of where he was, a name of someone he trusted, a moment that changed everything. The audience is left guessing, their curiosity growing with every word. The tension is palpable. The studio feels almost like it's holding its breath. As he speaks, he occasionally pauses to let the weight of his words sink in. He looks directly at the camera, connecting with viewers at home. "I know many of you are watching this wondering how something like this could happen," he says softly. "It wasn't easy. Every day felt like a battle, and I had to make choices that I'm still coming to terms with." Dr. Phil glances at the audience and asks, "Where are you watching from right now? What city or country are you tuning in from?" The man smiles faintly, acknowledging that his story isn't just personal. It resonates globally. Millions at home feel the suspense, commenting in real time, sharing their reactions. Viewers from all corners of the world are now emotionally invested, waiting for the next revelation. The man continues describing the turning points of his disappearance, the small moments of hope that kept him going, the people who helped him in secret and the near misses that almost ended everything. Every sentence is calculated to build suspense without giving away the final revelation. His family sits in the front row, tense and anxious, yet silently proud that he has finally returned. The mother's hand trembles as she reaches for a tissue. The father leans forward, trying to mask his emotions. Dr. Phil watches closely, occasionally interjecting to ask a probing question, guiding the man to reveal just enough to keep the audience hooked. The segment ends on a cliffhanger. The man stops mid-sentence, glancing around the studio as if to gauge everyone's reaction. The silence that follows is deafening. The audience sits in shock, wondering what he will say next. Dr. Phil's usual calm demeanor shows the slightest crack. He is clearly stunned, and the anticipation for the next part is nearly unbearable. Next, you'll see how the truth escalates emotions in the studio, and how even Dr. Phil struggles to respond to what's about to be revealed. The studio is silent. Every eye is fixed on the man who has returned after years of mystery. Dr. Phil leans in, his usually composed demeanor replaced by curiosity and concern. The tension is palpable. The man takes another deep breath, preparing to share more of the story that has haunted him and his family for so long. He begins recounting the moments immediately after his disappearance, how confusion, fear, and isolation shaped his choices. His voice is calm, measured, but there's a weight to his words that presses on everyone in the room. The audience shifts in their seats, leaning forward instinctively, sensing the drama about to unfold. Every pause, every glance adds to the suspense. Dr. Phil occasionally interrupts, asking clarifying questions. But the man answers with quiet honesty. "I didn't want to hurt anyone," he says, his voice trembling slightly. "I just didn't know how to come back." The words hang in the air. The audience feels the emotion deep in their bones. This is more than a story. It's a human struggle unfolding live. As he continues, his family's reactions become increasingly visible. His mother fights back tears, gripping her hands tightly in her lap. His father's jaw tightens as he leans forward, silently urging him to continue. The children, now older, sit frozen, trying to process a past they barely remember, but feel deeply. The mixture of relief, fear, and hope is tangible in every glance, every small gesture. The man pauses for a moment, letting the tension build. He looks directly at the audience, making them feel the weight of his journey. "Some days, I didn't know if I'd make it back," he says softly. "But every moment, I thought of my family. That thought kept me going." Dr. Phil turns to the camera and addresses viewers directly. "If you were in his place, what would you have done? Would you have stayed silent, or found a way back? Comment below, type, stay if you would have endured, or return if you would have tried to come back no matter what." The audience in the studio murmurs in agreement and disbelief. Some nod, others gasp, but everyone is riveted. The man's calm but powerful recounting leaves no room for doubt. This is a story of courage, resilience, and the human spirit. As the story unfolds, Dr. Phil's own reactions become a focal point. His brow furrows, his hands occasionally clasp together, and his eyes widen at some of the harrowing details. Even he struggles to maintain his usual authoritative calm, knowing that what is being revealed transcends the typical stories told on his show. Suddenly, a detail surfaces, a revelation that shocks the family and audience alike. The man reveals a near miss, a moment that could have ended everything. Gasps ripple through the studio. Cameras zoom in on faces filled with disbelief. Some audience members whisper to their neighbors. Others cover their mouths, unable to process the intensity of the narrative. The tension continues to build as Dr. Phil leans forward, inviting the man to continue. "I need you to tell us everything," he says, his voice a mixture of curiosity, empathy, and concern. The man nods, preparing to share the details that will explain the mystery completely in the next part. The studio is fully immersed in the story. Hearts race, emotions soar, and anticipation hangs thick in the air. Everyone knows that the next revelation could change everything. Not just for the family, but for everyone watching, both in the studio and at home. In the next part, the emotional reveal will leave the studio in shock, and even Dr. Phil struggles to process the truth that has finally come to light. The atmosphere in the studio is electric. The audience leans forward, sensing that the moment everyone has been waiting for is finally about to arrive. Dr. Phil, usually calm and composed, has a look of intense curiosity mixed with concern. His hands clasped together, he waits patiently, giving the man the space to speak. The man takes a deep breath, his eyes briefly locking with his family before turning toward Dr. Phil and the audience. "There's something I need to tell you all," he begins, his voice steady but carrying the weight of years of silence. The room goes completely quiet. Every eye is fixed on him, every ear tuned to catch the next words. He starts recounting the pivotal moment that changed everything, why he disappeared and what he went through in the years no one could reach him. The story is raw, honest, and full of emotion. He describes moments of fear, isolation, and near despair, but also flashes of hope that kept him going. Each word builds tension, leaving the audience hanging on every syllable. The family listens, some leaning forward, some clutching their hands together. Tears begin to form in the eyes of his mother, while his father struggles to maintain a steady expression, pride and relief mixing with disbelief. The children, now old enough to understand, sit silently, absorbing the magnitude of the story. The emotion in the room is almost tangible, a mix of relief, sorrow, and admiration. Dr. Phil shifts in his seat, his eyes widening. "I have to be honest," he says softly. "I didn't expect the story to be like this. It's more than words can capture." His usually controlled voice falters for just a second, revealing his genuine shock. The man continues, revealing the key detail, the truth behind his disappearance. It's a revelation that explains years of uncertainty, rumors, and unanswered questions. As he speaks, whispers ripple through the audience. Some gasp audibly, others shake their heads in disbelief. Cameras pan across faces filled with emotion. The suspense reaches its peak. Audience reactions intensify. Some are on the edge of their seats, others clutch their neighbors' hands, unable to process the truth. The tension is mirrored in Dr. Phil's own reaction. Even after years of dealing with shocking stories, he is momentarily speechless. He leans forward, his hand covering his mouth for a brief second, a rare glimpse of vulnerability. The man's story is more than just a personal journey. It's about resilience, courage, and the strength to face the truth. He explains not only the reasons behind his disappearance but also the lessons he learned along the way: forgiveness, hope, and the importance of family. The audience is visibly moved, many wiping away tears, others nodding in silent understanding. The emotional reveal doesn't just affect the studio. Millions watching at home are equally riveted, commenting, sharing, and reflecting on their own lives. The story transcends the individual, becoming a universal message about human perseverance and the power of truth. Next, watch how the tension escalates further as Dr. Phil and the family confront the full reality, and the emotional climax leaves everyone in shock. The studio is heavy with emotion. The man's revelation has left everyone, family, audience, and even Dr. Phil, stunned. There's a palpable tension in the air, as if the room itself is holding its breath. Dr. Phil leans forward, eyes fixed on the man, his voice calm but filled with curiosity. "You've shared so much already, but we need to understand everything. Tell us what happened next." The man exhales slowly and continues, describing the most harrowing moments of his disappearance. He recounts the challenges, the fear, and the moral dilemmas he faced. Every word carries weight, and the audience is riveted. Some audience members cover their mouths in disbelief, others nod, trying to grasp the intensity of the story. His family reacts visibly. His mother's hands tremble as she clutches a tissue, trying to hold back tears. His father leans forward, jaw tight, silently urging him to continue. The children's eyes are wide, reflecting both shock and awe. Each family member is living the story alongside him, experiencing the fear, hope, and eventual triumph. Dr. Phil's questions guide the narrative, pushing the man to reveal details that explain the full scope of his disappearance. "How did you survive? Who helped you along the way?" Dr. Phil asks, his voice steady but tinged with genuine concern. The man answers calmly, highlighting the acts of kindness that sustained him, the mistakes he made, and the resilience it took to finally come back. As he speaks, the tension reaches its peak. The audience feels the drama in real time. Whispers ripple across the studio, some gasp, others nod in silent understanding. Every detail adds a layer to the story, increasing the emotional weight. It's not just about the disappearance anymore. It's about the courage it takes to face the past and the strength required to return. The man pauses, letting the words sink in. Dr. Phil leans back slightly, absorbing the story, clearly moved. "You've been through so much, and yet you're here sharing it with all of us." he says softly. The audience erupts in supportive murmurs and applause. The man looks directly at his family and then at the camera, his voice steady but powerful. What I went through taught me that life is fragile, and honesty is stronger than fear. No matter how lost you feel, facing the truth is the only way to heal. The message resonates deeply. The audience is silent for a moment, reflecting on their own lives and the universal truth behind his words. The drama intensifies further as Dr. Phil probes the man's emotional state. He asks about guilt, regret, and the decisions that led him to be missing for so long. Each response is heartfelt, raw, and compelling. The audience is completely immersed, experiencing every high and low alongside the family and the man himself. By the end of the segment, the studio is overcome with emotion. Tears are shed, hands are held, and there is a sense of collective relief and awe. The story has reached its dramatic peak, leaving everyone in shock, yet inspired by the man's resilience and courage. Next, the truth spreads beyond the studio, and the reactions, both in the room and around the world, are unforgettable. The studio is buzzing with emotion. The man's story has reached its dramatic peak, leaving the audience stunned, reflective, and deeply moved. Cameras pan across faces. Some are teary-eyed, some are nodding in silent understanding, while others sit in awe at the resilience and courage displayed. Dr. Phil leans forward, his expression a mixture of concern, admiration, and disbelief. This is remarkable," he says softly. The man continues, emphasizing the lessons he learned during his disappearance. "I've realized that life can take you away from everything you know, but it's the people, the love, and the truth that guide you back," he says. His voice resonates with authority, humility, and reflection. Every word reinforces the moral core of his journey: honesty, resilience, and the importance of facing the past. The family reacts visibly. His mother wipes away tears, whispering prayers of gratitude. His father nods solemnly, a mixture of pride and relief washing over him. The children, now older, grasp each other's hands, absorbing the magnitude of the story. The audience is equally engaged. Many are leaning forward, hanging on every word. The energy in the room is a blend of shock, admiration, and inspiration. Dr. Phil turns to the camera and addresses the viewers directly. Millions are watching right now. Have you ever faced a situation that tested your courage or honesty? Share your story in the comments below, and type truth if you believe facing reality is the only way to heal. As the man continues, he highlights the turning point, the exact moment he decided to come back and reconnect with his family. The story reveals not just survival, but transformation. He explains how guilt, regret, and fear had once held him back, but how reflection and courage enabled him to reclaim his life. The audience is captivated. The narrative resonates universally. People at home are commenting, sharing, and reflecting on their own lives, inspired by his journey. Dr. Phil asks a few final questions, guiding the man to summarize the lessons he hopes everyone learns from his experience. "What do you want people to take away?" Dr. Phil asks, genuinely curious. The man responds, his eyes locking with both the studio audience and the camera. "Never underestimate the power of truth. No matter how far you run, facing your past and embracing honesty will always lead you back to where you belong." The studio reacts with applause, some audience members standing, moved by the emotional weight and moral clarity of the story. Dr. Phil himself smiles, a rare and genuine expression of admiration crossing his face. The story has not only captivated the studio but also left a profound impression on everyone watching at home. The segment closes with reflections from the family, expressing relief, love, and pride. The man's journey is no longer just about disappearance. It has become a story of courage, honesty, and the transformative power of facing the truth. Finally, the story reaches its conclusion. Dr. Phil reflects. The family embraces closure, and viewers everywhere are left inspired by a tale of courage and resilience. The studio is quiet now, filled with a mix of relief, awe, and inspiration. The man has shared his full story, revealing the truth behind his long disappearance and the struggles that kept him away from his family. Dr. Phil leans back, visibly impressed and deeply moved. "What you've gone through, it's nothing short of extraordinary," he says. His voice calm yet heavy with emotion. The family slowly rises, gathering around him. Hugs, tears, and whispered words of love fill the space. The audience watches, some tearing up, others smiling, sharing in the relief and closure that has finally arrived. The man embraces each family member, his eyes reflecting gratitude and a sense of completion. Years of uncertainty, fear, and absence are finally replaced by connection and understanding. Dr. Phil addresses the audience both in studio and at home. This story reminds us all that life can test us in unimaginable ways, he says. But courage, honesty, and love, these are the forces that guide us back to where we belong. It's a lesson for everyone, everywhere. His words resonate, a gentle yet powerful reflection that extends beyond the studio walls. The man adds his own final thoughts, looking directly into the camera. I hope anyone watching this understands that no matter how far you've gone or how lost you feel, it's never too late to face the truth. Reconnect with those you love and start again. The audience responds with a standing ovation, some wiping tears, others nodding solemnly, fully absorbing the weight of his message. The story, now fully revealed, leaves a lasting impact on viewers. Social media buzzes with reactions, shares, and comments. Millions are inspired, discussing the themes of courage, resilience, and family bonds. The man's journey is no longer just a personal story. It becomes a universal message about facing challenges, embracing truth, and valuing the relationships that define our lives. Dr. Phil turns to the camera one last time. If this story inspired you, or if you believe in the power of honesty and courage, type truth in the comments below. Share your own experiences and subscribe for more real-life stories that move, inspire, and remind us what truly matters. The episode closes with lingering shots of the family together, smiling, embracing, and finally reunited. The audience slowly files out, some still emotional, others discussing the story in hushed, reverent tones. Dr. Phil remains seated, reflecting quietly on the extraordinary journey they all witnessed. As the credits roll, the message is clear. Even in the darkest moments, truth, resilience, and love can lead the way home. The man's courage and the family's unwavering support leave viewers with a profound sense of hope and inspiration, a story they will remember long after the show ends.